Rob Snyder. I'm doing Billinis today. Something we do at the restaurant quite a bit. We do it with caviar, smoked salmon, trout roe, creme fraiche, all these delicious things. Now, I do a specific rendition of this. I use sourdough starter from San Francisco. Okay, so let's go over a few things that we need for today. The ingredients. I have everything nicely in my little portion cups. You can have it in whatever container you like. We've got, of course, salt, one main component of any recipe. If it doesn't have salt, don't trust it. This enhances the taste. This makes it good. This makes it great. If you don't see salt in the recipe, you might want to look around. Next is we've got Reginald. We described him. This is the sourdough starter. The next is milk. Fresher the better. Yeah, know your sources, you know, everything you get. Try to be organic. Try to be one of those little hippie people that gets everything from the farmer's source, because really, it's way better. Next, flour. And then we have butter, better ingredients, better product, better food, better you. That's how it works. It's a real simple process. Don't cheat. You're cheating yourself. And then we have a little baking soda to kind of give that stuff a little kick up. So the equipment we're gonna use today, really simple. We got a bowl, stainless steel, glass, whatever your preference. Spoon, really complicated. A pan, I have the non-stick version. This is an induction pan too, because I'm gonna be using an induction burner as well. Nice, even, consistent heat. It's gonna start very easily. So what I always like to do is kind of dissolve the things that need to be dissolved. You can always, and I don't have an egg. Shoot. Here we go. It's time to make the Bilini. Similar to pasta in some way, but I like to combine the dry ingredients, give them a little stir together, make sure everything's not clumped up in there. We'll begin with the flour, the baking powder, and the salt, combine them all together, and then we'll start adding our wet ingredients. So what we're gonna do is we're going to add the flour. Flour goes in the bowl. Similar to pasta, we're just gonna make our little well. Baking powder. We're gonna add our salt. We're gonna give it a little stir. Make sure all your dry ingredients are nice and mixed up. Now, we start to add our wet ingredients. Why we do this process is just because if you throw it all in there, yeah, you'll get the same product, but you might wanna make sure that all your baking powder is stirred up, all your salt stirred up, and everything like that. So next, I'm gonna start with the leaven. 50 grams, I believe, is the recipe. I have a little bit more than there. I'm gonna eyeball this. Now we have our eggs, green or brown? Brown. We'll go with that. Brown egg. Always crack your egg on a flat surface. If you do it on a pointed surface, it's going to push the egg yolk in, hit with that pointed surface, and possibly crack it. No big deal in this recipe, but if you're trying to separate eggs or do something fancy with eggs, it's definitely going to affect that flat surface. And we crack it in there. So yeah, now we have this. I'm going to add about half of the milk right now. Why half? It's because I want to create like a paste basically, and then I'm going to thin it out. Now, a trick again is to create this paste. And you can see it's kind of clumping up together. Now we're going to add the rest of the milk. Now, you can see we've got our nice little dough, and basically we're going to feed this into here. Now the one trick I have is take your spoon, flatten it on the side of the bowl, and kind of push those pockets of flour up against the wall. You can use a whisk if you want. I've always just found the spoon works really well, and plus I use the spoon to divvy it into the pan. Let's see, we got a nice texture, nice and stringy. It's not too loose where it just falls. It's not too tight where it stays in the spoon. Okay, we've let our Bilini mix rest a little bit. We're heating up our pan. I have the induction burner. Again, at home, you want to be a little more wary of open fire flames or electrical things and all those apparatus that we can heat up pans on. My induction burner is very fast, very efficient. At the kitchens, we fire it up full blast and we learn how to cook at really high speeds and temperatures because we have to, but at home, take your time, be mellow, be soft with your stuff. So, I have my butter and I'm going to use my hands to put it in there. And what can I do to test that? I can take off the heat. See that? It's nice and hot. I know it's gonna work. Brown pretty quick in that pan. So I'm gonna put it in the corner of the pan. And I'm gonna let it just gently go around. And then what I do is I kick off my spoon, because you don't want that residual, and you just take a little tiny scoop out the side, and you put a nice little dollop. And just repeat around the corners. You can make them whatever shape you want. You can make them into little Mickey Mouses if you want. Whatever order you lay them in the pan is what order you flip the Bilini. Flip! If they stick together a little bit, that's all right. Just disconnect them and flip them on the other side. Again, the same order. Biggest thing you can do as a chef or a cook or a home cook or whatever, pay attention, don't walk away, take your time with things. Now that we've flipped all of our Bellinis, it's time to do a little bit of seasoning at the end. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna crack a little bit of salt on here and stir it around, giving them a nice little flip. And then we're ready to go. So now that we're done sauteing, I'm just gonna pick one up to kind of show you guys. Nice golden brown. There's gonna be less fat on the bottom just because it's gonna have a little less fat, which is gonna cause a little less color, that golden brown you get on top. So you get your plate, and you can do whatever you want with these guys. Like I said, we're just gonna put them on this plate nice and plain. You could just do straight butter. You could do it with a little bit of caviar, which is what we do at most of the restaurants I serve these at. But this is my Bilini plate. I'm Chef Rob. Thank you so much for coming by. Appreciate it.